Hello, how you guys doing? James here. Up on the Saturday morning, and I hope it's going to be a good day. Finally, hey, um, this is going to be a kind of controversial subject. Um, you probably seen this video in the past, and this is going to center around dating and marriage. I've done videos about interracial dating, marriage, and stuff like that. And apparently, I'm not against it either way. But if you're gonna, because when it comes to being a black man, black woman, or anybody, this can go with anybody. When you date some outside your race or marry outside your race, you should always pick the character, not the color. And I'm gonna take you into mind how some white people like this guy feel, and it's gonna shock you. So, not don't mean that everybody think like this, but here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is a TikTok video of this white pastor, and some people are like, oh, he's racist. But you know what, y'all? White pastors have always been this way. I've heard about this kind of stuff even when I was in childhood. And look, when you watch some of the old slave movies, if they got scenes in there of white pastors talking, you can even hear the racism in those scenes. It was the white pastors that told these people what they were doing to us during chattel slavery, the heinous treatment, was justified. Somehow we were wicked and we deserved to be punished. Trust me, we didn't deserve to be punished by any of you. Okay? And also know, most lynchings, and I found this out just from doing my family tree, took place on a Sunday afternoon after these demons got out of church. And these pastors, these white pastors, were full participants in lynchings. They didn't just stand around. Many of them fully participated in stringing up and hanging black men. So when you see these kind of videos come out, we've seen several of them because I've done several of them, it should not be shocking that these sort of things are going on even to this very day. So I'm going to show you just a small clip of what he said, and then I'll come back with the rest of my commentary. In his case, I don't fully disagree with him, but it gives you an idea of the kind of messages they give in these white churches when it's really not many of us or none of us around. I mean, look, I've showed you one that was talking about slavery. No, I think I showed you about two of them that was about slavery, and you saw their oddball racist positions on slavery. I've showed you one that was in blackface, and he claimed he was being Ray Charles, and Ray Charles didn't look anything like this man he was looking. And now you got this pastor. Now this pastor is really talking about interracial couples. But to be honest with you, I don't fully disagree with him. But those of you that are in interracial relationships, you'll probably take deep offense to what this pastor what you're going to hear him say. But nobody should be shocked by this. I remember when I was a child and learning some of the history, I also learned about many of these white pastors being full participants in doing all kinds of heinous things. And just also remember, many of them were also slave owners themselves. So even to this very day, they will preach these type of sermons in the church, and nobody flinches at it because it's been so commonplace in this society and a big fabric of Christianity in this country. You know, and when you see stuff like this, you have to question, why are so many of our people still in Christianity when you know where that came from? Our people, we were not Christians when these people showed up. They introduced Christianity, and look at how it's turned out. And many of our people, it had to be beat into them. You accept it or you die. And just knowing that piece of history, it turns me off from even being involved in it. But still, our people on a Sunday, which is not even the seventh day, still gets up and they participate in it. They are full participants. So I'm going to play this video clip, and I'll be right back with the rest of my commentary.
Pitiful thing! Not holy, not wonderful, and everybody should do it. Friends, it's worldly. Why is it so many black basketball stars, black football stars, black baseball stars want a white wife? Why? Lord have mercy. It's another defiance of God's law. It is a worldly way. And then it creeps over into the message. Tell me, what's the difference in preaching against bobbed hair, painted face, shorts, all this, that, and other, being worldly, and we let this worldly means come right in, and we're afraid to say one thing about it. And let me tell you right up front, you young people, you want to marry a black man, you girls, don't ask me to do it, because I will not. I refuse. I cannot do it with a conscience toward God and look these quotes in the face. You white brothers, you find a black sister, you want to marry an African or whatever more, don't ask Brother Donnie. I'll quit church. Suit yourself. I'd rather you quit than me get in trouble with God.
Okay, so you heard what he said. You know, he's saying pretty much that he would never marry an interracial couple, and it didn't matter if it's a black man, white woman, or white man, black woman. He won't marry you if you are an interracial couple. Now, like I said, I'm not fully offended by what he said, but we have a lot of people in our community that do participate in those kind of marriages, and they'll hear something like this and be deeply offended, or they're dating someone out of their race, and they would hear this and be deeply offended. But y'all let me know what you think. You gotta look at this as it is. This is real American history right here. Right here. So you have a Christian church, and you think back and reflect back on the videos that I have showed you, and you see this is a very common thing. Racism, as far as I'm concerned, Sunday is the most racist day in America. It is. You would think, oh, well, people are getting up and going to church. No. You know, it's still very segregated, although, you know, you do have some integrated congregations, but y'all, many of these churches have never integrated. Never.
No. That's true.
You know, and
That's true.
they never will at this point.
That's true.
Not that it would make that big of a difference. But the bottom line of the matter is, it shows you how deeply rooted racism is in Christianity.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it will always be this way. You see the white evangelicals in this country, and it's never gone away. It's never gone away. So if this is what you choose to do with your life, you have at it. I certainly will never be joining Christianity again. But y'all, please tell me what you think of.
Now, you know, to each his own, you know, like I said, but what this video showed, that there are people, they don't want to be politically correct, but when they get among people that look like themselves, they express these views. And some people won't object to it. And you see some people are aiming in the crowd. And there's some people are like that. And when I have seen it myself in certain ways. But I'm going to play a short video of this next video.
My daughter receives $1,800 a month for caring for me at home. She's finally getting financial. You know, them folks as of recently been up here just trying to constantly want to say the N-word with a hard R. They are losing their mind with this, and it's definitely something with them that, you know, I want to get into. We also get into the psychological part of this as well. We have an analysis with that and what it really is with them, why they want to say the N-word so much. So we have this, you know, one of the Mayo Marauders here. I want you to hear what he has to say, because all black people, he really about to get y'all told.
If that word is so offensive to you, then you stop using it. And I don't want to hear this about, like, oh, you can say with a hard R or without the hard R. That's because if I used it the way that you use it, would that be acceptable? No, you cherry pick it and you call it racist. You call it bigoted. So if that word is so offensive to you, then you stop using it. And then maybe the rest of us will start feeling guilty when it's uttered.
And we know good and well that even if every black person today, if we start a movement and say, hey, don't say the N-word in no way, shape, form, or fashion, with the A at the end, don't say it. You degenerates would still say it, okay? Why? Because you're ate up with anti-black racism. Now, let's get into your psychology a little bit. Your psychology about why you can't say it, what is your obsession with wanting to say it so bad, and why you just really willing to crash out about this. Let me cue up my assistant here. I got a little assistant today to help me with the breakdown psychologically. Okay, so let's go ahead and cue up Lindy Way.
Psychological breakdown, why he's so upset. 1. Loss of linguistic power. Loss of social dominance. For individuals who have historically belonged to dominant groups, language has always been a tool of power. The use of slurs, especially racial ones, is not about communication, It's about control. It's a verbal assertion of hierarchy. When he's told he can't use those words anymore, it's not just a vocabulary restriction, it's a threat to his perceived place in the social order. 2. Cognitive dissonance and fragility. His outrage is likely rooted in cognitive dissonance, the internal conflict between the belief that he's a good person and the reality that his language upholds a system of racial degradation. Rather than confront that dissonance, he deflects by framing it as an attack on free speech. This is a classic case of dominant group fragility, the inability to tolerate even the mildest pushback against long-standing privilege. 3. Superiority complex threatened by boundaries. A superiority complex thrives on unchecked freedom, particularly the freedom to insult, mock, or dehumanize without consequence. Slurs are tools of psychological colonization. When he can't use them, he no longer controls the narrative. He no longer holds emotional dominance in racial dynamics. His fragile sense of superiority is exposed as artificial. This creates psychological disempowerment, which he mislabels as oppression. 4. Entitlement to cultural dominance. He likely believes that cultural norms, including speech, should conform to his comfort. The fact that marginalized groups have drawn clear boundaries offends him because it signals that the monopoly on power is eroding. To him, losing the right to say a slur feels like losing ownership over a country, culture, or identity he's been conditioned to see as his domain. The outrage is not about the word, it's about control. His inability to use racial slurs without backlash fractures the illusion of dominance. It confronts him with a reality where black dignity holds more weight than white comfort. And that psychological shift is what truly enrages him.
So thank you, Lindy Wade, with the psychological breakdown. So now you understand that for him, for not saying the N-word to us freely with no consequence, has affected him because he's saying, wait a minute, I'm not truly supreme unless I can say that word to black folks with no consequence. That's what it is with them. That's what it could, because see, listen, it don't hit right when he say things to other people, right? They have to show control and dominance over black people. And because they're saying that no, it's going to be a consequence. Listen, for them to give all that money that they gave to that Shiloh woman, that is them being desperate. They're desperate now. They're desperate because they're realizing they're losing their grip. And let me tell you, it's been God ordained for you to lose it. Your time of holding power is up. It's up. And I know you can't understand that. So you're thinking, well, let me be more anti-black racist. Let me harm them. Let me do this and that and the third. Really, you're exposing yourself because now the whole world is watching you. See, at one point in time, with all the atrocities that you had committed against FBAs in particular, the world didn't really see it because, hey, we had no internet. We didn't have no cameras all over the place. We didn't have none of that. Now the whole world is watching you. And every time you make videos like this, every time that you show up in force in a court room trying to intimidate somebody, you know what I'm saying? Like in Cincinnati, Ohio. Every time you do things like this, you're showing the world how vile you are. And people throughout the world are saying, why do we want to even have these people around us like that? We don't respect these people. You can't go around the world talking about human rights and democracy and none of that mess. Well, I'm a firm believer that definitely, at least in Africa, democracies don't work. It just don't work. But you can't go around the world telling people anything when they see how savage you are. See, that's the thing. The world has really seen how savage they are now. And they feel that, well, you know what? Maybe we don't have a grip throughout the world. We got to have a grip here at home. And because you can't say that word because you feel like I'm not supreme unless I can say that word with no consequence, let me tell you something, there's always going to be a consequence. There's always going to be a consequence. It could be physically, it could be civilly, in some cases it could be criminally. It's going to be a consequence. Once again, if you can't go scream fire in a crowded building and don't have some problems, if you can't go say the word bomb on an airplane without being some consequences, then it's consequences for your mouth. You run around here, as Lindy Way said, talking about free speech, but you want free speech to be evil toward FBAs. That's what you want free. So when we talked about what free speech meant, and we got the psychological breakdown of what all that means, right? Free speech in this First Amendment for them is about control and about power and keeping that. And when black folks say, hell no, that's not going to happen no more, and the brothers and sisters of the civil rights movement had put their foot down about all that, and these laws had changed. You understand, all these laws that they ever had, they feel like that disempowers them from being supreme. That's why they attack quote-unquote DEI, even though we didn't come up with DEI, and it'll benefit them. But still, in their mindset, to say that you have a DEI program, diversity, equity, inclusion, for them, it's like, wait a minute, you messing with our ability to dominate jobs, to dominate money, to dominate. For them, everything is domination. Everything. But your rule is up. And this the bad part about it, y'all. They see it, they know it. And it's a slow erosion too. And they literally see the erosion every day. They see the slow erosion. They see the influence slowly going. They see that people don't really care much about what they say. They're not dealing with them the same no more. They're seeing that. They're seeing it. And there's nothing they can do about it. They thinking that, oh well, we need to import more white folks here. They import those Afrikaners from South Africa over here. And which they say the first wave of them is coming next week, actually. They're gonna get a rude awakening about FBAs here in America. See, they had it good in South Africa. I know they got it good in South Africa. But when you come here to America and you realize, yeah, the American dollar is good in your country, but it's not that good in our own. You're gonna find out real quick about America. I won't even give them a year before you're ready to run back to South Africa. You understand what I'm saying? These people thinking that they can, that we're going to import all the white people strategy. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. That is not going to work. It's not working. Y'all in global decline. Global. It's not just America. It's globally. You're not having children globally. It has nothing to do with just America. You know what I'm saying? So you have to, in your mind, learn and get used to working with black folk and other groups of people. Because the day is going to come where you're going to be the minority. Just like in South Africa.
And that is why Donald Trump, which he sees, that's why he sent all those people back to the country. Because that was his way, his administration way of solving, quote unquote, there had to be a crisis. And use the crisis, in which it was really, with the gang situation, but other people got caught up too. Innocent working people from all walks of life that wasn't part of a gang, wasn't part of the crossing the border illegally. There are illegal citizens that they're trying to send back from different countries. The Caribbean, Africa, Latin, parts of Central and South America. This is what this spawned off of them. And what was it based out of? Changing the dynamic of color. Changing the dynamic of it. So that's why they are against interracial relationships. And they just kind of coded it up a little bit.
Are you looking for more of this world? Are you ready to be part of something?
Those wanted seriously these little dumb conversations that these two would have, but they weren't that dumb. Okay? They weren't that dumb. So these two are some kind of popular TikTokers or whatever. They say their screen grab is called @Dino and Zahra, DENOANDZAHRA, for people who may be on TikTok. That's their screen grab or whatever. So This is a black man. They say they're pretty popular. This black man here, named Ladarius Morshan Brownlee. He's age 28 from Texas, and him and his girlfriend, Saida Zara Hashimi, they had a channel on YouTube. I think it's called Dino and Zara. And, you know, she's some kind of Persian or whatever. People will say that she's not white. Yes, she's white in America. To me, she's white. She's white, and this is why the channel was there, this interracial channel. And, you know, they're loving what they were doing. They paraded this relationship on TikTok, and it looked all fun and cool to certain groups of people who sit back and watch these things and also aspire to be with a white person, you know, or maybe, you know, do things like this or whatever. But, you know, social media is fake. It's full of nonsense. You know, people actually go for it. And they believe this stupidity right here. These interracial couples like them, they usually take to this TikTok and social media and things like that to get attention. And they really thrive on saying that people are haters or hating on them. You know, they love when people question their relationship and ask them little dumb questions like, what are the obstacles? And what? They like that old dumb stuff. They also like when people get in comments and say things so they can say, oh, we got all these haters. That and the money that they make is what keeps them going. You know, real corny type couples that be on these interracial type things. You know, it ain't even the fact that they interracial. If you're into that, you know, do your thing and live your life. But these people try to highlight it as if it's some great thing and they're doing something special. You know, it's straight stupid. Now, the thing about these people like them, when they're not doing this, they're usually fighting physically, verbally, things like that. They usually hate each other, and it's all for the camera, man. It's all for the camera. They go fighting and having all these issues, and then they do the whole, hey, we gotta record. You ready? Did you take a shower? Okay, let's get dressed. Let's go get ice cream. Let's kiss the dog in the mouth. They do all this other dumb stuff in the buffoonery for the camera. Well, for this couple right here, it all came to an end on the 4th of July. On the 4th of July, 2024, these two, they were in a car coming home from a 4th of July festival or something like that. You know, early morning, actually on July 5th. So early morning, the 4th of July, it was a 4th of July festival, July 5th. So they're in the car, arguing as usual. They got into a physical altercation at this location that they were at. So after this physical altercation, they get in the car, they're driving home. And so this guy, Ladarius, he drove about 2 miles from this park that they were at this event. They're in the car, arguing and yelling. He pulls out a gun and boom, just tried to blow her beak off, y'all. No, they didn't put that one on TikTok. But he just pulls out a gun and just blows point blank range, people. Point blank range. He tries to blow her beak off because she's still alive and she's in the hospital recovering. She's in the hospital recovering. He's in jail. He has a bail of about $900K. He did admit that he did this. He's probably going to do some real time for it. But listen, man, it ain't worth it.
Yeah, because you sit there and you're choosing not to make me your wife right now, so I'm gonna die as your girlfriend.
So guess what? I was gonna die as your boyfriend. You was choosing not to marry me.
No, you're choosing.
I'm gonna die as your boyfriend, and you gonna go marry somebody else.
That,
and you gonna
you
be
want me
married
to
next to
propose
me?
to you?
So if I'm your boyfriend and I die, you gonna get married again? Who you get married next to?
You.
Oh, really?
Mhm. It's always gonna be you.
You a capper.
It's gonna be you.
You be capping so hard.
Look, he was trying to tell her. They were talking about it. He was trying to tell her. In the back of his head, he's thinking, yeah, I really would do that. I really would try to blow her beak off. You know what I mean? But hey, man, she wanted to be in this. I think that she was very disrespectful as well to the culture. I don't like seeing these people trying to act like a so-called stereotypical black woman on these videos and things like that. It's just real corny, but it's whatever, man. They have a lot of people who like to follow them. But check this out. Check these next two idiots out right here. This is also a very disgusting display.
We're an interracial couple. Of course my father-in-law thinks my husband could have done much better than a chickaboo like me.
We're an interracial interracial couple. Of course I don't love my wife. She's just a fetish to me.
We're an interracial couple. Of course my husband makes me do all the work around the house.
Yeah, I know she's a gold digger, but this is one of them.
We're an interracial couple. Of course when we take pictures, you can only see one of us and not the other.
Smile, babe. We're an interracial couple. Of course people tell me I need a DNA test because my baby's black.
We're an interracial couple. Of course I'm only with him for his 850 credit score. Babe, I need you to come in here and apply for this for me. We're an
Okay, you see it. That's supposed to be some kind of entertainment or vlogging. You know, these two right here, I was going to cover these two over a year ago. I believe it was over a year ago. Just to show that there are actual ignoramuses out here like these people, and they do exist. And these two are some couple called Queen of Kings is what they're called. Queen of Kings. And when I first seen this, I decided that I didn't want to cover it because I didn't want to fall into that genre of guys who talk about this stuff too much. I didn't want to get all into that. But when I seen it, I thought, wow, this big Tyson Fury looking Viking is definitely going to take her up out of here. I'll be back to this. That's what I was thinking. I said, man, this is going to happen. Somebody get this dummy. But you know, with these two, they like to take to social media and parade their life as a weird interracial couple, basically using their platform. They like to pander to hopeless black women or black women who feel bad about themselves, black women with low self-esteem, who are, a lot of them who don't want to accept responsibility for what they did in their lives. So they like to pander this false hope to other black women. This is a form of white man worship. And yes, they do promote the religion of white supremacy and stupidity on their platform. I mean, you can check it out. It's very degrading. This woman in that video, you seen her acting like a slave. This guy, he's a big Tyson Fury looking pale Viking. And they have like children together or something like that. She's a stripper and has other children. Well, it's definitely one of those channels that I believe is responsible for promoting this white man worship to the young black women, you know, showing this life as if it's good and they have money and they're doing great. And I believe that this channel here and channels like this, mainly this one, are part of the reason why you have these young black girls, 19, 20, 18, getting hacked up into pieces by old dusty white men and their body parts found all around town. But these people and this woman here and this man, they promote that. I was scrolling, right, and I seen this brother who has a channel called the Blackout Channel. It popped up, and I seen a thumbnail, and I seen this big Tyson Fury looking Viking, and I remember this dude.
I look forward to you joining us at our next investor webinar, where you can drill deeper into our 9 to 13% annual
Thumbnail, and I seen this big Tyson Fury looking Viking, and I remember this dude. I'm like, hold up, I remember him. So I went and I started listening to the brother on the channel called the Blackout Channel. I don't know the full narrative of his channel, but I seen that he was covering these buffoons, you know. So I said, let me listen to this. The whole false white man is God hope, you know, that these chicks have on these channels. And apparently he covered this channel because these two, after all this buffoonery and lying and fake stuff, they are splitting. The brother who has the channel said that there was a bunch of nonsense going on. This woman had black kids from another man. I didn't know that initially. You know, when I was thinking about covering them before, I just seen how big this white dude was, and I figured, yo, this dude gonna crush her, just like the big NFL player did to the woman. When I thought that it would be that type of story. Well, apparently, what I learned from this brother on Blackout Channel, she has kids from a black man, and she also have children with this big white Viking here. I don't even know their names. And apparently, some people in his family were calling him, her black children, the N-word. He didn't do anything about it. Just a whole bunch of nonsense or whatever. But they're splitting. And you know, anyway, my thing is, look, man, these interracial people, these black folks, they go online and they degrade themselves, showing off that they're part of this whole movement. They're in a relationship with a white person, parading it and pandering to people with low self-esteem. I believe that most of these people who do this, there's something wrong with them to begin with. You can see in this story, this young lady here is a stripper or whatever, a former stripper. That means that there's some kind of detachment going on to begin with. And typically when they have these channels, these interracial people, they typically hate each other. The black person and the white person, okay? They usually, in these white male cases like this, you can tell the white man doesn't want to be there. The black woman is running around acting all happy and jipper and stupid, changing her voice and stuff like that. And you know, people like to watch this stuff. These weird people with low self-esteem who look up to this woman, they like to watch this stuff. And eventually, what happens in these stories is the white dude, he gets pissed off and he eventually starts to beat the brakes off of one of these women, chops her up or whatever. Best case scenario like this one here, they just split up. And this woman is still alive, they just split up. You know, these white dudes in these videos and doing this stuff, they typically don't like these women. And these women start loving their attention. They go on, the white man talks about black men, the black woman talks about black men because they both have a disdain for them, but the black woman secretly still really wants to be with black men. You know, really wants to be with it, but this is this whole white man worship thing. The black man, the white man, he usually knows that she really wants to be with a black man, but he feeds all into it. And most of these guys who are involved in this, that do this with these women, most of these white guys are typically hardcore racists. You can look at this big Tyson Fury looking Viking here. He's an embarrassment to his family. I mean, look, this dude's about 300 pounds, probably 6'8". I don't know where this big gump is from, but he started making some money here. He's loving it, but he degrades himself as a white American man. He's on here with a black woman, dancing, doing stupidity, you know, knowing that he really dislikes this woman to begin with. He really wants to be with a white woman, but he's seen a bag in this, and he couldn't turn down the bedwetchery and the Jemima treatment that he was getting, so he fell into it. But this, you big pale Viking, for people like him, this is a weak white American man. And it's people like this guy, this dude here, are the reason why the world doesn't respect white American men and feels that most American men are homosexuals. It's because of guys like this. He's a white guy here who clearly has no pride. He could do anything as a white man with no boundaries. He's free to be a white man with no restrictions in America, but he chose to go on social media with some dumb black woman and act like a slave, have her do slave skits for fun and dancing and promoting racism. I get it, dude. I get that you are a racist. That's what you want to do. But just to have you on here buffooning around like this, you're an embarrassment to your family, yourself. It's disgusting. And that goes to show that he's not a successful white man. He's a loser. Now it's all over, okay? It's all over. They said that they're splitting. And base case scenario here, this woman, she's lucky that she got out of this with her life with this big dude, because this big Viking right here, all it takes is one day for this dude not to be able to handle his emotions and everybody's gone. You know, this is white man emotion. This is white man problem solving. It's different. And a lot of times, their problem solving is just get rid of the problem. Let this big monster, let this big Viking right here miss one appointment and his testosterone replacement therapy, where he gets aggravated and he ain't get his testosterone shot. If he misses one appointment and gets aggravated and gets around this black woman, he'll literally crush her to death. So, you know, I guess it's a good thing that she's getting away from this dude. But these social media weirdos, man, whatever, man. It never really ends well for these people. They're taking L's, they're losing, okay? They entertain groups of socially awkward bozos and losers who look up to them, you know, and I'm not calling people losers just because they are in an interracial relationship. If that's what they wanted to do with their life, go ahead and do it. Move on with your life. I'm talking about the people who found a lane to promote this white man worship, white couple worship, you know, interracial worship, which is a form of white supremacy anyway, and it's disgusting when they're parading it because they always do it. And you can tell that the black people in these cases always have some kind of inferiority complex. So, you know, these people will continue to take L's, but in this case, the brother in the first video, the first one, he took an L, okay? Because he's going away to prison. And the woman he's with, the white Persian girl, she almost got her whole beak blown off. Right here, this black woman is lucky to get away, you know, with her life. Because I really did think, when I first seen him about a year ago, I thought that this big pale Viking was going to crush her. But she's getting away with her life. But these people continue to take L's for their stupidity. Anyway, get in the comments, let me know what you think. Easy.
In 3 steps.
Okay. Now, what have we learned from this? Well, I'm gonna put my version in it. Whenever, you know, black men, black women, this goes to you. When you go outside your ethnic background and date and marry a person or be involved with a person, you got to know the character of a person. You have to know, and don't be so caught up in the fantasy, you know. And I can only say I had to learn this from myself. Yet, it's alright to find, it's nothing wrong with finding other people attractive of different nationalities and races. And I think that, you know, that's beautiful. But there's a realistic point in America, as long as you're in this land, I don't know how it is over in other parts of the world, but in this land, you on a land that's so patriotic, it is something that's one of the things that we have never forgot. And even though some people say we should move on, and this demographic of people have moved on, but it's a demographic of people realistically that subconsciously, and Neely Fuller, the late Neely Fuller, said something. One time somebody asked him a question, you know, I think it was a white guy, you know, how can you determine that I'm a white supremacist? He said it's up to me to determine what a white supremacist is. And the reason why he said that is because some people subconsciously, like the pastor in that video, said some things like this. I'm gonna tell you from a personal testimony, this don't surprise me. What, you know, I've been around people, and it's not all white people that think like this. Don't take it. I hope no one don't take this to get offended. But the reality of it is that there's some people in their family that this, you know, it's all cool and fine and dandy, but if they have the opposition against somebody who they really disdain, and they happen to be black, what if they throw out the N-word in front of you or your biracial child? I'm just saying, they're gonna say something to you about your biracial, something about, and it can be, and you might maybe say, they might say something about LeBron, and they just can't stand LeBron because he just, oh, he's so arrogant, he's so da-da-da-da-da. I'm giving you a cheat code what they do. And you just say, okay, just, you know, it's a personality issue. But then again, another person, it comes up again. And then it comes up again. They don't want to be, and the ones who try not to be prejudiced, but they politically are prejudiced. And this is what we're trying to tell you. You got to get out of the soap opera lane. And understand, when you get into these relationships, you know, get to know the person's character. Make sure they truly love you as an individual. Let God show you who they really are. Just like you do with your own men and women, you gotta look at them the same way. It's the same way. And don't be because you disdain, like I said, if I would go outside and date a woman outside my race, I have to know the character of a woman before I get so caught up in the fantasy. Her character is what you're going to have to deal with for the rest. And I can speak as a man. And the black woman should do the same thing when she's looking for a man. You got to have the character of him and stop demonizing your own people. and I realize that. And I understand this, if I say something on the video, and you heard me say something, it's trying to show black women that this is the kind of personality, this is the reason why some men, I'm not putting them down. I'm just saying, hey, some of you have this attitude, not all, but some. If it's something with black men, it should be the same way. But it's because what he was saying in the first video. But what that white pastor have said in that video, trust me, when we're not, some of them are not in their presence. Some white people, when we're not in their presence, no black person, wherever it is, this discussion will come up once in a while. Even if they could be around, they could have biracial children in the family, and they will bring this up. They will be blatantly racist. I'm trying to tell you, and they can talk about something and put the adjective with the N-word in it. And how I know about this, because a person like my personality, and when they say you're not non-threatening, your personality is, they can feel and they can say what they want to say to you. You understand what I'm saying? And that's why I say you got to know a person's character. Just like sometimes we don't like to be around, sometimes we know our own people got some issues. Some of our own people. But don't stray away so far that you start getting this mindset that the first person you meet that just happen to be white or any other race is that they good. They all like, this is the biggest freaking mistake that we have. Not all white people are the same. Trust me. Taken from a man that has been around most of my life, when I've been around people in general. People will reveal the inner part of you when you're the only person of a different nationality among them. You will know them by their fruits. You will know them when you spend time in their home. You will know them when you hang among them. Because something, if their true nature, sooner or later, is going to come out. The true nature of a person is going to come out. That pastor displayed it. And it's a side that some people don't want to talk about. And this is going to offend somebody. But they know I'm telling the truth. There's somebody is going to get offended. There might be some subscriber might get offended. Might not subscribe. But I got to tell my people this. Because I've witnessed throughout my life this. I've been the only black guy in the room. And if you will know what some people will say, oh my goodness, it comes out of nowhere. And I thought we just people as people. I never think of you see me as a color. And even subconsciously I never, I was always raised like that. That, a person's a person. I can truly say that. I was one of these people. But some people I realize in this world, I don't care if they call themselves a Christian or whatever. See the character of a person. See their character. Please listen to what I'm saying. Stop getting online and disparaging your people. We know we got some knucklehead people, and I make my critique. But I'm not going to coon all the way down against my people. Because the reality of it is, I've had some good and bad experience with my own people, with some of my own people, but I try to be fair and balanced. But when it comes to white people, trust me, there's some, it ain't all been peaches and roses. I have been around white people that microaggression, micro-racism on jobs. I've been around white people, I'm telling you, that says some things. There's been some good, and that's because we so-called fellowshipping together, and as soon as they bring some people around that have been around some black people, they're going to code up, they're going to give you the silent treatment, they're not going to give you eye contact. This is what they're going to do. I'm telling you, this is what they're going to do. The ones that don't, and they go play, and their friends ain't going to understand this. And you might just take it, well, maybe they just, like that. And some people have a shy personality by individuals. But let it be known, some people can't stand the sight of us. And they don't even know why. I'll give you the story one time when this woman that I was dating, she's biracial. And she lived on her grandmother's side of the family that was white. And I had a conversation with her white grandmother. And she said this at one time, and I never forget this stuck out to me. That one time she got into a conversation, and this woman telling how she can't stand black people. And she said, and her grandmother, who was white, said, why do you not like black people? She said, I don't know. I just can't stand them. You understand what I'm saying? That's serious. That when someone don't like you simply because your existence of what God put you in, the nature of your skin, it's something, and it's deep rooted. And I tell people there's there's the direct racist person that's like Trump. He's just direct with it. You see where it's coming from. But it's the ones that's just like, why you got to be so direct with it? We got to do things in secretly and things. But he's trying to, he's telling the ones giving them the signal like, it's okay, just say what the heck you want to say. That was what the second video was about. And he's showing you who they truly are. There are people among some white people who feel, not all white people feel like this. Let me repeat this. Not all white people, because it's going to be shock and surprise to them. Because, why is it shock? Because black people never come up in that conversation. That's why it's a shock. They know they had a black friend. They know they had a crush or whatever. But they subconsciously, this is what they do. You have to, and it's a history that goes back. And you have to question sometimes you gotta question the motive. Is it because you're fascinated because what they do on TV, or is it the music? What is about it, or whatever? But at the same time, they scared to be around some because they think some of them do some unrealistic criminal, and they don't know. It's crazy. There's some people like this. Hopefully when you pick somebody, pick the character, know the person. I'm telling my people, some people look like myself. Don't pick the color. Don't always look at the bad in your people. Because a person is based on character, not on color. This is the whole point of this message. Not to say one is better than the other, but to give you open, realistic, that somebody has been around all different type of people. Their nature will change. I'm trying to tell you. People change their nature, and the real side will come out. There's always another side to a person. So, please don't get offended. This is not directly at all. But when you get to know a person of a different nationality, know the character like you know the character among your own people. God will reveal it over time who they really are. Open up your discernment, your eyes. This is what I had to do myself. And I felt kind of certain. I didn't understand. I was so blind to the point they would say some of the most offensive things and didn't even know it. Because it's almost like I had a slave mentality. Let them do what they want to do, say what they want to say, and just kind of laugh it off. You don't have to put up with that mess. And to some people, and it's the question, what black people black people thinking, and we're all racist. No, it's not that we think you're all racist. But when it comes to the opposite, shown through history, it tells a story. That's why some black people react the way that they do, and they're starting to kind of pull back. We don't know between the good and the bad to the point because of the, not because of the skin color, it's because of the character. Because some people, and this is to my white people out there, yes, you all aren't the same, but it's your character is going to display when it comes to certain situations. And if you code it up, God give us the ability to uncode what you have put up in code. That's why we can catch up. We know we're spiritual divine people. This is why I said this. The code is broken. So, however, you can. Some people play good or bad cop, good bad guy, but the code will be broken for those who choose to walk that code. That's why the elders like Neely Fuller, Francis Cuss Wilson, told us the code to what Phil was talking about. So alright then, but let it be a lesson. Date the character, not the color. Take care, be blessed. See you on the next video.